After being rescued by the prince, Snow White lived a seemingly happy life. Everyone admired her for her beauty. The prince cherished her. For Snow White, who had known hatred far more than love since childhood, that happiness was almost too bright to bear. "You haven't changed at all since the day we met." The prince often said this, never knowing how much she had sacrificed to make those words true. They were never blessed with children, but in time she came to see that as a reason to stay young. For Snow White, being beautiful was not a gift, it was a duty. One day, Snow White found herself thinking of her stepmother's mirror. She searched until she found it, then spoke to it, slowly, carefully. "Mirror, mirror, am I still beautiful?" "Snow White, you are very beautiful." "As beautiful as when I first met the prince?" "You have changed, somewhat, since those days, but you are still beautiful." With those words, the mirror showed her the face she once had. Snow White looked. Then she looked at herself now. Dull skin, a mouth that had begun to sag, a jawline softened by time, and across her face, fine lines etched quietly, unmistakably. She had known she would change. Time passes, of course it does. But not like this. She hadn't expected this. "You're a liar. I am not beautiful at all." Then, slowly, it came to her. She had become the same age as her stepmother, the woman who was forced to dance in burning iron shoes until she died. Looking back now, even her stepmother in those days had still been beautiful. Around that time, Snow White heard a rumor. There was a medicine, they said, that could restore youth. She slipped away quietly and sought out the physician. He had come from a distant land. In exchange for an enormous sum, he handed her the medicine. "Follow the instructions exactly. No matter how well it works, do not take more. Once you cross that line, there is no going back." The night the prince left for his campaign, Snow White tried it. She didn't expect much, but the next morning, the face in the mirror was the face she had worn 10 years ago. Something was wrong with Snow White's face. By the time that rumor began to spread, she was already using 3 times the prescribed amount. The more she took, the more beautiful she felt. If she stopped, she feared she would lose it all. Slowly, she lost the ability to judge her own reflection. By the time the rumor reached the town below the castle, her face had barely any resemblance to what it once was. Still, no one stopped her. One day, Snow White overheard her ladies whispering, "When the prince sees her face, he might cast her out. He's always cared about looks." That night, Snow White slipped out of the castle alone and walked into the forest. She wanted to ask the dwarfs for an honest answer. When she found them, they had aged, all of them. They were startled to see her, but welcomed her with warmth. They had families now. Sitting together around a small table, Snow White wept, quietly, without sound. They had grown old, all of them. And yet, they were loved. They loved in return. Even so, they were happy. "If I am no longer beautiful, no one will love me. Then I will stay here, in this forest, forever." The moment the prince returned from his campaign, he went to the forest. When he saw her, he was lost for words. Still, he came back, again and again. He kept asking her to return. Why? I'm no longer beautiful." What the prince had loved was never only her beauty. It was the heart beneath it, unchanged even as the years passed. A kindness that never faltered, a gratitude that never faded. The one person in whose presence he could truly rest. At last, he brought her back to the castle and gave a command. "Destroy every mirror. From now on, see yourself through my eyes." Those words undid the spell that had bound her, not a spell cast by another, a spell Snow White had cast on herself, and only she could break.